Your goal is not to break rapport. Your goal is to keep rapport with yourself.
Every time you say yes to one thing, you are saying no to everything else.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode, Chasing Your Unique Version of Success, with the one and only Ryan Bliss.
Vermont mug.
Today, for episode number 562, we are going to talk to you about the power of saying no. So this is something that I have seen quite often with my clients who are either early entrepreneurs or honestly new to doing anything that they haven't done before.
Right.
And one of the most common things that we talk about is saying no. And I think that if you're out there right now, I have some people in mind. So a lot of, well, I won't say a lot, but there is a demographic of our listeners who are like fitness trainers and they're personal trainers for themselves. And I'm thinking of them when I think of this idea, because as you get more clients, as you become more successful, as you double and triple down on your habits, all of these things, you have to practice saying no. And the practice of saying no is a never-ending cycle that you actually have to get better at as you go. And I don't think it's something that people talk about enough.
Right.
So we wanted to bring that to you today in this quick episode, because no matter where you are, you're always going to have opportunities. But as you become more successful, and again, we have a long, long ways to go, but we're more successful than we were at one point.
Right.
I have to say no to things way more than I ever have before.
At every new level, there's a new level of alignment. So let's say that you're writing a book of life. This is the book of your life. You are the author of your own story. Let's say you live to 100 years old. That means there's 100 chapters in this metaphor. When you're on, let's say you're 32 years old like I am, okay? You're on chapter 32. You're going to be saying no to a lot more things that you used to say yes to on chapter 16. And when I'm giving speeches, I often do this, where I say, everyone right now, think of a very bad decision that they made when they were 17 years old.
I have one.
Okay, Kevin's got one. He looked at his hand because I think you cut your hand with a
I
knife.
sliced my hand open
With a knife.
Ended my baseball career. No biggie.
No biggie, right. And the question I would ask everyone is, once you have that in your thought, in your consciousness, why wouldn't you make that decision again? Go ahead.
Because it ended my baseball career and I almost had to get surgery. It was brutal. Yeah, it was brutal. I lost trust in my family. It was tough, a tough one.
I think that all of us, you know, for me, it was when I was 16 going to meet this girl. And the reason why you wouldn't make that decision again is because now you are more aware of the consequences.
Yeah.
Everything in life is cause and effect. And when you're aware of the effects, you become very, very careful with the causes. AKA, if I drink a lot of water, then the effect is I have to go pee. And it's like you have to be hyper conscious of this whole process. And you have to be very, as you're on chapter 32, 33, 34, 35, let's say you're 35 and you have children. You're going to have to you're going to want to say no to binge drinking a lot more than if you were, 19. Why? Because the consequences are higher when you have children. And so I think that that's a good frame to really look through.
And I think, again, your time is probably your most valuable asset. It's probably the thing that you have the least of that you need to savor the most.
Right.
And I think it's every time you get asked the question of, hey, do you want to go do something? You have to weigh it in. Is this better than what I was going to do? I'm always thinking of that.
Always.
Even when it comes to self-care versus spending time with somebody.
Right.
Is this spending time with somebody better than the self-care that I was going to do by myself? And it's, solitude versus spending time with people.
Right.
I have a lot of forward-facing things I do. Sometimes I just want to be alone.
Right.
So I think it's always you weighing in this yes versus this no.
Have you ever done a cost-value analysis?
Yes, back when I was in accounting school. No.
So
No, I mean, I don't know what you're going to say. Have I ever written it down and weighed it out? Probably not. I do it in my brain.
Yeah. So everything has pros and cons. And I remember early on in our hyper-conscious journey before we were Next Level U, Kevin helped Amy with this. So Amy was trying to go back to school, and you said write down 2 columns. You said on the left side all the reasons you can't go to school, and succeed. And then on the right column, write down all the reasons you can, and then just don't look, like, throw out the left side, right? And so what a cost value analysis is what's the upside and downside of what you're doing. What's interesting is that you don't know what to say no to. Let me do this. All right, if you want to be a professional swimmer, you're going to have to say no to certain foods that Kevin and I don't have to say no to. I shouldn't say have to, but you're going to want to say no, right? Yeah. If you're an Olympic athlete, you're going to want to say no to McDonald's more than Kevin and I need to say no to McDonald's. So everything that you do and don't do is a decision. And that decision is predicated on three things: core aspirations, core values, core beliefs. And if you're aware of that whole process, you'll know what to say no to. But to get back to the original thing on this episode, how do people say no? So, like, how do you do it so well?
It depends on what it is. If you're saying no to a person, I think you just give your reason.
Right.
I think you just say, hey, I think you give your truth, and it doesn't have to be the 1,000%, truth. You don't have to say, like, well, that's not, I don't want to do this because that's not the type of person I am. Because that might be seen as talking down to somebody.
Right.
Right? Like, I don't go to the bar. That's not the type of person I am. Now, that's true for me.
Right.
But I would go to the bar with, like, if Taryn said, hey, I want to go get dinner and sit at the bar. Cool, I'm in. I'm not going to, cool, it is what it is. But I'm not going to go to the bar and get hammered, most likely.
Right.
Well, I mean, who knows? But I doubt it. I think you have to try to do it from the aspect of, like, your goal is not to break rapport. Your goal is to keep rapport with yourself. And I think it's a fine line. That was one of those things. I'm trying to keep up with Nick Cavuto. He's got the one-liners. It's like,
dude, that was a strong one.
I got to step my game up.
What was it again?
I don't remember.
You said you don't want to break rapport with the other person, but what you're doing is breaking rapport with yourself.
You want to keep it with yourself.
I think self-integrity.
Yeah.
We know within ourselves whether or not something is aligned or not. All you have to do is, like, okay, look at the past week. Kev, what is one thing that was a 10 out of 10 in alignment? Boom.
Taryn and I spent almost, not the entire day in bed yesterday watching movies, but it was like, that, dude, it was amazing.
Hell yeah.
It was so needed and so amazing. 10
out of 10.
Yes.
Okay, what was something that was like, I knew that wasn't really going to be a 10 out of 10, but you did it anyway.
Oh, boy. Over the last week?
Yeah.
What did I do? I don't know off the top of my head. I don't think there's a lot of them that aren't now. Really?
That means you're living very in alignment.
I do. I do feel like I am. There's not a lot of appeasement that goes on.
Right.
Really. And this is the other thing. I'm not an obliger. So if you're listening to this and you're an obliger, again...
Timer just went off.
Yeah. So we've talked about this before, the 4 Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin. An obliger is somebody who struggles to say no to other people.
Yeah.
And say yes to themselves. You always choose somebody else over yourself in terms of your time, your energy, your focus, whatever it is. I'm not really that way. With certain people I am probably, the people I care about the most. But for me, it's kind of always been easy to say no because I've always had a reason not to do it.
Right.
So this episode isn't just about people. It's about ideas. If you're driving your car right now, listening to this episode, you chose to say no to music.
Yep.
I consciously do that very often. Sometimes I'll Jeff it a little bit and say, you know what, I'm going to listen to music today, but very rarely does that happen. So it's not just people, it's places, it's ideas, it's things, it's self-belief, it's limiting beliefs. There's so many things that we could go into in this episode, but we wanted to hit you quick with something about the power of saying no because it is a power.
Yeah.
It is a skill that you have to learn, just like anything else.
The one thing that I wanted to make sure I got across in this episode, Kevin and I always set intentions prior to getting on the mic. The intention that I set was I want everyone to sit in the hard reality that every time you say yes to one thing, you are saying no to everything else. And if you say yes to going to lunch with a friend who is only aligned at a 7 out of 10, you are saying no to the opportunity to go with a 10 out of 10. Because, and the very last thing I'll talk about here is something I say in my speeches, and if you're a long-term listener to this show, you've probably heard me say it, but it's one of the most powerful things I've ever realized. When I realized this, it changed everything for me, and it helped me say no. Kevin's better at saying no than I am, I believe, especially when it comes to, like, relationships. I don't think
I'm stubborn.
I just don't think guilt controls you very much, which is very good. People guilt trip people, and I've done it to you once, and I regret that. I'm sorry. But like, it was one time I was like, "You're not gonna have pizza with us, man. You're gonna leave. You're not gonna have pizza." Yeah, I jeffed you.
No, it's
But people subconsciously guilt people because it gets them to do what they want. But basically, when I realized this, it changed everything for me. If you are blessed enough to live 100 years on this planet, which the average in America is 72 years old for a male and 73 and a half years old for a female. So if you're blessed enough to live 100 years, you only have 36,500 days on this earth. Now, if you only had $36,500 in your bank account and you could never make another dollar, how carefully would you spend that money? You would be so careful. You would be so careful. But yet we're giving away our time all the time. And I just think that's a huge, huge, huge mistake. And what people will realize as they get to the next level, it's going to be harder and harder and harder to say no. So you're going to have to get better and better and better at it. Why? Because there's so much more opportunities.
Boom. As always, reach out if you have any questions, you want help with saying no. Anything that we ever say, do not hesitate. At NeverQuitKid, at ALazarus88 on the gram. Ladies and gentlemen, we are doing free speeches. So if we come into your school or your company, whatever it is, the first speech is free. Be nice. Like, this is a great plug for our speaking. But what we will do is we will send out a custom questionnaire that has questions that we want answers to so we can formulate our presentation that way. We've done, last month, I think we did 4. We either did 3 or 4 speeches last month, and we're really trying to rev that up. So if you are interested, just reach out to us or to Amy. We will get that thing booked, and we will show up from the studio virtually with all our equipment set up, and we will bring the fire as we do on these episodes.
And that's the coolest thing. It's virtual, so we can do them globally.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's 15 people, don't hesitate to reach out, because 2021 is the year of virtual speeches.
It is, some would say.
For Jeff and Jeff.
Some would say.
Also, group coaching, man.
Yeah, man.
Group 1 has filled up.
Sold out in 12 hours.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, group 1 sold out in 12 hours. # grateful. We appreciate
that. That is awesome. We cannot wait. Kevin and I, honestly, I haven't seen this level of excitement from us in a little while. It's like we're so pumped about this. And what we're going to do is we're going to send group 1 a questionnaire to get to know them in advance, and we're going to create custom curriculum in these 3 months. So we opened group 2 because there was several people that didn't get into group 1, but we did promise group 1 that we would raise the price after because first come, first serve. Mm-hmm. So group 2, I believe there's 8 spots left at $97. So reach out to myself or Kevin. There's a big difference between just listening passively to this show and then digging deep into your own life. There's 4 things that I look at when coaching. First one is, where have you been in your past? Second one is, where are you now? Third one is, where do you want to go? And then the 4th and most important one is, what needs to shift in your behavior or your perception in order to get you there? That's what Kevin and I are going to do, and the way we're going to do that is pretty intense. So join us, reach out, $97 per month for 3 months, and it's a 90-day boot camp, and it's literally going to change your life.
That's a good deal.
It is.
That's a good deal. So we just want to help you guys. It's what I said today on my story, so we're recording this on Monday, so I can actually say this, is we're not going to, like Alan said, we're not going to promise you this is going to be easy. This will be worth it. You will be more fulfilled, more happy, and more successful at the end. That's our goal. We're not going to lie to you and say this is going to be the easiest thing you've ever done. I will tell you it will be the most fulfilling and the most growth you've ever had.
For sure.
That's our goal.
And if you're out there right now and you are an obliger, obligers are the best team players. So get on a team that wants you to do what's best for you. It's an accountability group. We're going to have bi-weekly progress reports. It's going to keep you accountable. Just imagine the last time you were on a winning team. What you were capable of was probably 10 times. That's what this is.
And we want to help you get to the next level. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed this. So tomorrow we have our live Meetup Monday dropping. What you need to know as an early entrepreneur with our coach, Nick Cavuto. Absolute fire. Nick balances intellect and heart at a level that we really haven't seen. He has so many good one-liners that I'm trying to keep up with that I can't. But we are lucky enough to have him behind the scenes as well. And this mastermind or this meetup, probably the most valuable one we've ever had, in my opinion. I think you said the same.
Oh, for sure. This was the most valuable meetup, in my opinion, we have ever had. Nick talked about how business is math and also spiritual. Just absolute fire. Do not miss that one. And we are very blessed. We might be going to Denver to meet Nick in person.
We very well may be. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we appreciate you. We love you. And we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you on the next one.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.